Well, hey everybody. Welcome to the update stream. This is Bugs here. I'm joined today by Artemis and Miss D. Say hi, guys.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, guys.
So, what do we got going on? Well, it is a new month and a new update coming out today. And although there is not a ton of new content, there is a literal ton of quality of life changes coming in. And on top of that, there's a bunch of fixes and some new content as well. Not a ton, but a bit. As always, we're going to go through what is going on in this update, what you as a player can expect to see once this update drops. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to do Misty underscore that's me in chat, and we'll get to as many questions as we have the opportunity to. Now, this update is expected to hit at normal time, so within the next hour, 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. BST. And it does force a map wipe across the board, as all First Thursday updates do. There is no sign of any forced blueprint wipe or anything like that. However, many servers, including most Rustafied servers, do wipe blueprints when the update hits. If you're looking for some no blueprint wipe action servers, Rustafied does have a few, and you can go to our Discord and look at the map information, server information for which servers don't wipe blueprints. But let us get into it because there is a bunch to cover. First, a little bit of that new content coming in. There are some changes to silencers and two new silencers that came in. So basically, there's two new craftable silencers that have been added, a soda can silencer and an oil filter silencer. And the soda can is the lower end version of it. It's only 40 frags, and it's got a very low durability. We were seeing it only last like a couple of AK shots, like 12 in testing. It might have changed. But then also the oil filter silencer is going to last a bit longer, more like 48 shots. And it's a little bit more to craft. It's 10 high quality metal and level 2 workbench required. The soda can is level 1 workbench required and 40 frags. Now, the big change with this is the regular silencer, the military grade silencer, is no longer craftable. So you're only going to find this in loot. Now, on top of that, there's a new weapon attachment as well. And this is an interesting one. It's an internal weapon attachment, so it doesn't show any differences on your gun when it's attached or anything like that. It does take up an attachment slot. But this is the targeting attachment. And basically, what it allows you to do is basically just gives you the ability to ping locations like the other ping functionality when it's attached to your weapon. So if you're in combat and things like that, you can quickly ping things like the other pings. Your teammates can see the pings and things like that. It doesn't work on every weapon, but we're seeing it work on the custom SMG, handmade SMG, M39 rifle, M92 pistol, SKS, semi-auto pistol, semi-auto rifle, and the Thompson.
I,
And that's going to be, oh yeah, go for it.
I was going to say, there we go. It's slightly bugged for the moment, but it looks like it's going to let me show it now. There we go. I was
Oh, there
hammering
we
it for a
go.
while
Good
there.
stuff.
There we are. Yeah.
All right, nice. And yeah, that is a level 2 workbench item, and it's going to be 10 high quality metal and 1 tech trash to craft this puppy. And yeah, it just allows you to ping things while, you know, you've got your weapon out. So nice for in combat and quickly pinging and letting your teammates know of things going on. So nice little new weapon attachment we got going on there. There's also, when it comes to catapults, a new weapon for the catapult, the B catapult bomb. And this little puppy, basically, as you would imagine, just allows you to launch a swarm of bees at your adversary via the catapult. And from the looks of it, it's going to cost you 3 bee grenades and 200 wood, and it's a level 2 workbench required. I realize I do have a misprint on my article here. In the text, I say level 1, but they did change it to level 2. So I apologize for that. I'll fix that right after this stream. But yeah, new bee catapult bomb. It'll launch multiple swarms of bees at people where it lands. That's a fun little catapult thing we got going on. Now, also going on, we've got some floor and ceiling wallpapers. So there are a variety of some new decorative options for not only the ceilings, but also the floors. So this will be great for decorating your bases and things like that. There is a couple of default options like we've seen when wallpapers came out, that everyone can use. But the majority of these styles are going to be found in a DLC going live today. There's looks like around 20 different flooring styles and about 9 different designs for the ceilings, and just a couple default ones that everyone will have access to. So definitely check out that DLC going live with the update. No word on a price point for that yet, but some cool new options when it comes to decorating your bases, both from a floor and a ceiling standpoint. Now we get into the real meat and potatoes of this update, which is quality of life. There are a number of nerfs, buffs, and quality of life things going live today, and I'm going to try to get through all the ones that I can. I acknowledge they did so many this month that we may be missing one or two, and if we are, I apologize for that. Again, we're not developers, we're just fans of the game who love reporting on development news. So we should have a full rundown when the dev blog comes out within the hour. But in the meantime, I'll run through the ones that we've seen. First and foremost, the MP5 durability and condition has been increased, so your MP5s are going to last longer in combat. Also, the LR will deploy quicker, which is nice. So you got a little faster deploy buff going on with the LR. They've also allowed small wooden box placement on wall shelves and also just generally eased the small box placement in general. So that's a nice little thing going on there. They are allowing modular car populations to spawn in the forest and forest side at the roadside. So you're going to see some more modular car spawns, specifically in the forest and nearby roads. Now, speaking of spawns, players will no longer be spawning in the jungle biome. So that has been removed, and you're not going to be spawning near the beach in the jungle biome anymore. And the static electric heater now provides comfort, so that's going to be nice. And small rock formations have been added to the jungle biome as well, which basically allows for more ore nodes to spawn. So although you won't be as a naked spawning in the jungle, some ore nodes, more ore nodes, I should say, will be. And when it comes to trains, you're no longer going to be able to spam wooden barricades in front of them to grind them to a halt. The trains won't be reacting in the same way to those wooden barricades on the tracks. Also, we've got the water well vendor now sells advanced harvesting and crafting teas, so a bit more optionality when it comes to what the water well vendors are selling. They have also added the industrial blue light, so that's a cool new variant of the industrial light that has been added with this update. Also, we've got some more deployables can be demolished within 10 minutes of placement. And this includes the watchtower, barricades, wind generators, paddling pools, and water catchers. So, like some other things, you now have 10 minutes of after placing them to be able to just destroy them easily. And they've got some nice quality of life things going on with the attack helicopter. You can now switch between HV and incendiary rockets with the radio menu, just holding R. And you can also manually reload with R when needed in the attack helicopter. So that's some nice quality of life for the pilots of attack helicopters out there. They also added some new binds to swap seats when in vehicles. So by default, it's control and then the number 1, and that'll put you in the driver's seat. Control and 2 will put you in the passenger seat, and etc. And this also has been added to the keybind edit options. So if you want to create your own keybinds for swapping seats, you can now do so instead of just scrolling through the different seat swaps available. There is also a new wild hemp variant out there, and this is all over the map. All the wild hemp is going to look a little different. But specifically, this makes it more visible in the jungle biome. So you can see that hemp in the jungle. And from what we're seeing, where it has basically a little pink or purple like bud on the top of it, and maybe it's like a little taller than previously. And this is just for the wild hemp growing out there. They've also done some changes to turrets. So basically, bow and blow weapons now have reduced damage and increased reload times when placed in turrets, so they've been nerfed a bit. Also, auto turrets in Peacekeeper mode will now wait 5 seconds before attacking a player if they draw a weapon. And also, turrets are going to be less accurate when shooting players on moving trains. So if you're going by on a train, going by some turrets, it's going to be less accurate than before. They've also got some changes to crafting costs, specifically the propane explosive bomb no longer requires explosives to craft. And they've also reduced the amount of rad pills in jungle crates. So you're just going to see less rad pills when going through the jungle and looting crates there. They have also removed camera roll entirely on the boogie board and inner tube. So it's going to be less kind of shaky, less jarring when you're boogie boarding or inner tubing. And they have added a command block to staging. This is an admin only item that allows you to execute commands via trigger if you're an admin. It's not really something that players are going to, be worried about, but it could be a nice quality of life thing for admins out there. They've done some sound polishing for the boomerang and various jungle items. So just overall, the boomerang and different things in the jungle are going to be sounding a little more polished after this update goes live. They have also removed driftwood from the buildable caves because it was interfering with small deployables. So that should make it easier to place some of those small deployables when building in caves. And when it comes to sounds, they have made it so the game volume slider also affects UI sounds, which it previously wasn't doing. So that's a nice little thing if you're sensitive to various sounds. And speaking of UI, they've made some improvements to the Beehive UI, so it should just make a little more sense, be a little more intuitive, so to speak, when dealing with beehives. They also stopped showing open fuel storage all the time when you're mounted on a bike, so now you need to look down deliberately to get that pop up. So when riding around on a bike, you're not just going to see all that fuel storage stuff all the time, and that's going to be nice. They did increase the stack size of black raspberries from 1 to 20, which is bringing it in line with what the other berries were. And it removed the item ownership from black raspberries as well as a result of that change. They also did some tweaks and improvements to vines, the swinging vines in the jungle biome. Basically, the vines are removed the second a tree gets killed, rather than keeping them around for a few seconds, which is what was happening. And again, there's some other tweaks and improvements to those swinging vines. So as you're in the jungle Tarzaning around, you should just see it behave a bit better, a bit smoother than before. When it comes to reporting cheaters via F7, they made it so the F7 now opens the cheater report panel by default, and you can switch back to the bug report if you want, but I think they figured most people going into F7 are reporting cheaters, so let's have that be the default option there. They shifted the neon sign side inputs. The cost of them is now the same power as the main input. There was a discrepancy there before. That has been resolved. When it comes to cooking some nice apple pie, you now only need one apple, down from two when you're cooking an apple pie. So that's nice. And coconut gloves are compatible with the snow jacket and bunny onesie now. They previously weren't, but now you can rock those coconut gloves when you're rocking your snow jacket or bunny onesie. There is some adjustments to the teas. I'm going to get into it more, but with the pure warming tea um, and the cooling tea, they adjusted the min max temp values a little bit for those. So just some tweaks to that. And holding the directional drop key will drop items on the ground even when dropped over other inventory slots. And this is basically to make it easier to drop items with direction without needing to drag the icon all the way off the inventory. This is kind of an experimental change, so we might see some tweaks and modifications to this going forward. And overall, they did some optimizations and improvements to various I/O related things to make them more consistent across the board. They also improved the triangle ladder hatch deploy volumes, so it won't be blocked by random nearby deployables anymore. So it's just going to be easier to place that triangle ladder hatch. And finally, they did a block belt input if you're swapping seats, and basically this prevents seat switching keybinds triggering the hotbar selection. That goes along with the new, keybinds for switching seats. It just won't also mess with your hotbar as you're doing it. And along with this, they did fix some long-standing double view model issues when switching the driver's seat and deploying an item at the same time. So just a little improvement and fix there. There's also going live with the update today, some spatially aware lighting. We've seen this be worked on for a month or two, and it is a subtle change when you're around monuments, but basically there is a new convar. It's graphics.spatially aware environment volumes, all one word. And what we're seeing, it can vary from place to place, but long and short, um, when it's on, things are a little more vibey, a little more atmospheric, and can be a little darker. And then when it's off, uh, there's less directional light, less awareness of light sources in general. And things do appear like they might be a little brighter when going around. Again, this is a subtle change, and it's not always going to be necessarily, depending on the environment, brighter with it off. But it's a nice new lighting effect that just makes things look a little more vibey. And again, this is on by default, but if you want it off for any reason, then you can do the CVAR graphics dot spatially aware environment volume and just set that to false if you do so choose. Another change we got going on with this update is plant-based food now spoils just like meat does. So they've added spoilage to berries, pumpkins, corn, potatoes, apples. And basically these items are going to spoil after it looks like about 4 real-time days. And then it'll just turn into this spoiled produce item if not used in time. They've also done some expansion to the tea system, and there's new advanced and pure tea variants, basically offering effects like health boosts, improve ore gathering, faster crafting, better harvesting, and warming and cooling buffs. The mixing table recipes have been updated to support these new teas, and yeah, so you should see them in the game. And also, these are now available, as I mentioned earlier, with the water well vendors around the map. They have also done a whole bunch of fixes that we're seeing. Just a couple, like they fixed player body jittering out of sync with camera movement when on an inner tube. They fixed some missing wood from the hobo barrel on deploy. They fixed unload ammo button not showing up after a gun is reloaded if the ammo is in the main inventory while gun is in the hotbar. They fixed water jump, start, and land effects, prefabs not playing sounds. They fixed being able to place floating signs with a ladder on top of a tugboat. They fixed chainsaws not showing their fuel count when inside of a chest. They fixed issues causing incorrect ordering and coloring of things on the mixing and cooking table. They did some fixes along with the LR300 just deploying quicker. They also did some fixes with the view models of that weapon as well. And they have some major fixes for language support, specifically right to left languages in input fields has been cleaned up in a big way. And along with that, they fixed some Arabic and Hebrew language support things in chat. They did some uh, resolution for warnings with convex mesh colliders. Some hot reload settings fixes and some missing script warnings have also been fixed. So just, along with all this quality of life, just a whole bunch of miscellaneous fixes we're seeing, which is always nice to see. Now, along with this, we have some changes to loot spawns, and this is a little bit of a controversial one, but long and short, basically what they did was added a spawn population cap rate convar, and it acts as a cap of how fast loot can spawn when being scaled by player count. And this defaults to 300. So, long and short, basically, loot will spawn on servers with a higher population of 300 as if it was a 300 pop server. This can be set manually by the server owner if they want to change it. However, I do want to note community official and official servers are not going to be changing this value. So long and short, on larger servers, there's going to be a slightly slower spawn rate of loot than we've seen previously because it's always going to behave as if it's a 300 pop server, even if it's a 900 pop server. They've also done various optimizations to things such as foliage instancing and loading time. So we're definitely seeing some improvements to performance and optimization go live with this update. I expect some more details in the dev blog, but long and short, basically what you need to know, loading time should be improved and FPS hopefully is a little improved through this foliage instancing stuff and various other things they've done. There's also some new customizable settings for crosshair interaction modes and everything in the settings menu. And they did some improvements to treasure hunts. Basically, a 6-hour time limit was added. They've got some new spawn locations, and they have reduced the minimum distance between mission points. So the treasure hunt, you shouldn't have to travel as far as previously to complete that treasure hunt, but there is a 6-hour time limit now. They did some changes to stack sizing and crafting costs as well. So the chicken coop crafting cost is increased. It now requires 1 rope and 75 metal frags. The wooden barricade stack size has been reduced to 5 instead of 10. And the honeycomb stack size has been reduced. It was 100 and it's been reduced to 20. Also, the burlap gloves now offer a small amount of bullet protection, so they're going to make you a little bit safer when rocking those burlaps. Beehives now require sheet metal when crafting, and they changed the water pump protection to metal and increased the HP. And also, finally, they did some storage monitor improvements for container IO and vending machines. So just some background improvements to monitoring that stuff. Now, another thing I want to mention is we're on staging and we wiped this server just a couple hours ago, and we are seeing and confirm Artemis and Misty on the in-game map, we are still seeing the bed spawn points at Bandit and Outpost. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Yep, that's
we
right.
see them.
So yeah, this is an interesting one, and you can look on the map and see there are bed spawn points at these two monuments now. I didn't see anything in the commits around this, and I'm not sure if this is a fluke or something actually coming in. And just to confirm, you guys can spawn at those places, right? When you click on it?
Yeah, there is no like physical bed, but you spawn on like the cement and outpost.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah, I did scroll through the commits like endlessly, and I could not find anything. So maybe it's just a bug or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's a bug from like softcore or something like that, if that was intentional. I feel like it wasn't. And and I don't know if that's going to go live with the update, or we did just update the server before the stream went live. So I'm really not sure about that one. I had it in the article briefly and then I took it out because I feel like it's not really intentional, but we'll keep you posted on that. I'm not sure if that's going to be going live again, but I did just want to mention it. The other thing I want to mention is probably the most controversial thing to potentially hit the commits in a while, and that is this. It's kind of twofold thing: this party system and the campfire spawning system. And if you looked at the commits, you'll know that they are working on this body of work where you can have Steam friends join a party and join the team UI and spawn near you in a server, like kind of automatically. And along with that, they're playing with this thing of campfires. If they're lit and they're open and clear to the night sky, basically, if you join and you're in a party and you don't have any other bags or beds around on the map, you can spawn at a campfire. Now, I do want to say this stuff was merged into the aux branch and it's not going live with the update today. I know it's funny when you look at the commits, upvotes, and downvotes. When you see one that has like 300 plus downvotes, you know it's a controversial thing. And basically, all to say it's not going live with the update today. And I don't know if it's for sure a confirmed thing or something that will only be on certain servers or whatever. But did just want to confirm that that party system and the campfire spawning stuff does not appear to be going live with the update today. And yeah, that about does it for what we've got going on in this update. And yeah, Miss D, do we have any questions or things we want to test from the audience?
I thought we would have more questions though, but I think you've covered it pretty well. So we do have some.
Ooh, I do want to say real quick,
Yeah.
the server update did just come out, and that's a good sign. That means the update is on time, if not early. Generally speaking, if you're not aware, the server update will come out between half an hour to 15 minutes before the client update. And then when the client update comes out, that's when we say the update is officially live. So the server update coming out at 28 after is a very good sign. And let me update the overlay and tweet about it real quick to let people know.
Let me know when you're ready. Tweet, tweet.
Yeah, one sec. All right, let's do some questions here.
Okay, and also if people have questions to add Miss D underscore that's me, so I see the questions. Thanks. Does the turret versus train changes also apply to turrets versus cars?
With the commit, we only saw it specifically refer to trains. And so that tells me, although we haven't tested specifically with cars, and it's kind of a hard thing to test, like the accuracy of a turret is a little subjective unless you have some, real background statistical information, which we don't have. But given the wording of the commit, my sense of it is only with trains and not with the vehicles.
Please, can you tell me if the cheap silencers will have infinity durability in turrets or not? Please, I need an answer.
We could probably test that real quick, but my sense of it is that no, that would be way too overpowered if they had unlimited
Yeah,
durability.
I mean
That's it.
the normal one is like taking yeah, damage.
I
So
can confirm actually that in the turrets they have the same durability that I've just shown, so not very good at all, to be fair.
Nice. And we're still seeing that low durability, like 12 AK shots for the soda can silencer and like
Yeah,
48
literally.
for oil.
Yep, yep. If not a couple less for the oil actually, from what I just did.
Oh, it might be even less. Okay, cool. So yeah, these new silencers, which again are the only craftable silencers now, the military grade silencer you can only find, but they have much less durability, and so you're gonna have to use your silenced shots wisely when rocking them.
I see someone asking just now: are the bandit camp and the outpost spawn points in the sorry? Are the bandit camp and outpost spawn points the fire barrels? No, it's like on the street,
Yeah, and also
so
with
there's
that,
nothing there. Yeah.
that may be. I mean, one that could be something screwed up on just our test server build. It's not something that we saw earlier, like previous to today, and it's not something that we saw in the commits at all. So I think this might be a mistake, and it might not be something that goes live with all servers. So that's why I didn't include it in the article. And well, I took it out. I added it, then I took it out as I thought about it more. I don't think that's a intentional thing.
Can we get a look at how the new campfire spawn is?
No, we can't actually because that is not coming in the update today. That was merged into the aux branch. But given the update is basically a launch of what is on staging currently, the normal staging, which is what we're on, we can't really show that off. If anything, I think that party system and the campfire system, if they're coming in, might be next month and we could show them off then. But that's still a body of work that's in progress and very much subject to change, I think, especially given the, you know, uh, I don't want to say outrage, but the vocalization of the community. I haven't seen much of anyone that's for those changes. And in fact, I've seen a lot of content creators make posts when, like, normally they don't comment on things. They are commenting on this saying it's not a good thing. So I think that's a very up in the air thing that they might change. But regardless, it doesn't appear to be going live with the update today. And it's not something that we can test. The other thing I want to mention with the server update being live, that's only on the server end. And so we're still waiting on the client update to be live. So you're not going to see a client update yet on your Steam library. We do expect that client update to hit probably within the next 10-15 minutes, given the timing of when that server update went out. And we are working on updating our servers and wiping them and getting them ready for that client update. But the client update is still pending.
One sec. Did they hotfix the horses and armor damage bug? You take less damage on a horse with armor.
I don't recall seeing anything in the past month in the commits regarding any changes to that. So I believe the behavior that it has currently will carry over after this update. That's my sense of it. I could be wrong.
Hello. When will Shadow come back? Never.
Okay. I'll let you handle that one, Misty.
Yeah, no. She won't be back. She stay as Misty now.
And also, I see some people asking about the loot spawns with the 300 figure and everything like that. And my sense of that is that for basically it caps now at 300 pop. So this is again the spawn.population cap rate CVAR, and it when set acts as a cap on how fast loot can spawn when being scaled by player count. and it defaults to 300. My sense is that servers less than 300 will respawn accordingly. So if you got 200 pop, it'll scale based on 200 pop. Really, the change there, from my understanding of it, is that when the population gets 300 and above, it will cap at that 300 rate. So the loot spawn rates will not increase past whatever that rate is at a 300 pop server. Whereas before, if you had a 900 pop server, it was scaling up and respawning based on 900 pop. Now it's going to be capped at 300.
What are the short names of the new silencers?
That's a good question. Can we do a quick find in the F1
Yeah, sure.
to see if we can figure out those? Because off the top of my head, I don't know.
Is it significant? Is it significantly? Oh my god, I can't talk. Easier to place small boxes on the wall shelves than before, and yes, it is very much easier.
Yeah, they made it very much easier, and also just small box placement. So if you're talking about under things or various places, small box placement has been eased up very much so in general, and that was one of the quality of life things coming in.
And hi, is there any update about the cheater issues? Any improvements? We have some static that they are getting less cheaters, or is it still a big problem?
It's definitely still a problem, but I think there have been improvements that we've been, seeing. And I know Facepunch is working really hard on it. Not only have they been, doing internal changes, which of course can't be discussed specifically just given this cat and mouse situation, but they've hired a bunch of people to combat cheaters. And I know internally at Rustafied, we're bringing on more admins and we've been working on our systems and everything like that. So although I will say hacking is still definitely a major issue with the game, I do think it has gotten a bit better, and I hope that that does, and I look forward to that continuing to the point where we can say, hey, hacking isn't an issue at all anymore.
That would be nice, right?
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
Now that the hemp is larger, do you think it's gonna give more yield?
Now, I believe the yield is the same. It was just a visual update to make it more visible, specifically in the jungle biome.
No, I'm not getting any hits for the silencer for the minute, and the old format with the weapon mod silencer's not working either. So I'm not sure. I don't know if you want to try.
Hmm, interesting.
What about the M4 nerf?
Are you guys aware of that one? That could be one that I missed, and if I did, I
What was that?
apologize.
Sorry, I missed what you said.
The M4 nerf?
Oh no, I didn't see anything about
Maybe it's just a
M4 nerf.
wishful, you know.
Yeah, nothing
Yeah.
that I saw in the commits
Yeah.
could have escaped us, but didn't see it.
Yeah, honestly, this was kind of a hard one to put together because they did just throughout the entire last month, they did so many quality of life things, and I had to review the thousands of commits multiple times to try to grab every single little thing. But with that, I'm not surprised at all if I missed something. So if there was one and I missed it, I apologize. But also, I'm not off the top of my head aware of that specifically.
Does loot spawn affect node and tree respawn or only crates?
I believe it's just the crates, but I could be mistaken on that.
Yeah, I think it is. Yep.
Yeah, it's my understanding that it's just like the actual like
Resources
loot,
isn't.
not
Yeah, that's it.
resources. Those are
Separate.
two separate things.
Is the new party system implemented where you are able to load in and spawn together within 100 meters of your team?
No, that is not in with this update. That was merged into the aux branch the other day, and we're still seeing some commits come down the pike on modifying and tweaking that. So it's not going live with the update today. If anything, maybe we'll see it next month if we see it. But we have seen a lot of pushback from the community and things like that on that system. So it might not make it in. It might change a lot more before it does. Anything's up in the air now, but one thing that's pretty clear right now is that it's not coming in the update today.
Do you know if the loading into staging before a normal server takes less time loading into a normal Rust server?
It is definitely something that you can do. Now, with regards to loading in on the staging branch versus the main branch, I think the timing is roughly the same. If anything, staging right now might be a little less just because they did, with this update, release some improvements to loading times and asset warm-up specifically, I believe. But in general, the loading times between the normal branch and staging branch are generally going to be the same, I believe.
Is this new capped spawn rate to all officials?
Yeah, that is by default. That new cap spawn rate CVAR is set to 300 by default. And the devs have come out and said that officials are not able to change that. So if you're running a community or modded server, you can set that new CVAR to 0 and it'll revert to the old behavior where it just continues to scale up the spawn rates based on population past 300. But for the official servers and community officials, we are required to keep it at that 300 default value, which will, just have this new system and new times be in effect for all servers.
Let's do a recap, and then if we have more time for questions, we can do that after.
Yeah, sounds good.
Recap, recap.
So I'll do a recap pretty quick here because I do believe the client update is going to hit any moment now. And I've got my little thing loaded up to see the moment it does, so I will let you know. Also, just if you're just tuning in, the server update came out, what is it, just over 10 minutes ago, almost 15 minutes ago. Uh, Pretty much all Rustified servers are wiped, updated, and live already. So when this client update hits, you will be able to join in immediately to there. But we do expect that client update to hit momentarily now. In the meantime, I'll run through a little recap. We've got some new silencers, the soda can silencer and the oil filter silencer are two new craftable options when it comes to silencers. You can see the craft information on rustified.com along with all this information, by the way. And now the big thing with this is that the regular or military grade silencer is no longer craftable and you're only going to find it in loot. There's also a new targeting attachment, basically, that allows you to, when attached to a weapon, it allows you to do the pings for your team and things like that, just with the weapon loaded. So that's nice. It's available on custom SMG, handmade SMG, M39 rifle, M92 pistol, SKS, semi-auto pistol, semi-auto rifle, and the Thompson. So not all guns, but
And the
many of them.
AK.
Oh, and the AK. How did I miss the fucking AK?
I'm not sure, but
Thank you
yep,
for
there
that.
we go.
Yeah, I'll add that. Okay, that's two things I got to modify on my article once we're done with this. Thank you for that, Artemis. There's also a B catapult bomb going live, and this is just a new catapult exclusive projectile that, well, as you would imagine, unleashes multiple bee swarms on impact. It looks like around 3 per shot. So yeah, you can catapult, and send bees through the catapult to your enemies, and that's fun. There's also new floor and ceiling wallpapers. That the majority of these are going to come in a DLC going live very shortly. But there are a couple default ones, a couple default options for floor and ceiling as well, and you apply them just like normal wallpapers. And yeah, it's just more options when it comes to decorating and vibing out your base. Now, the real meat and potatoes of this update are quality of life changes. I'll try to run through as many as I can before this update comes out. But we've got MP5 durability and condition has been increased. The LR now deploys faster. They've allowed small wooden box placement on wall shelves and eased the small box placement overall. The modular car will now spawn in forest and forest side roads. So that's nice. Players will no longer spawn in the jungle biome. Static heater now provides comfort. Static electric heater, I should say, provides comfort. The In the jungle, they've added some small rock formations to allow for more ore nodes to spawn. Spamming wood barricades in front of trains no longer grinds the train to a halt. Water well vendors now sell advanced harvesting and crafting teas. Industrial blue light has been added. More deployables can be demolished within 10 minutes of placement. This includes the watchtower, barricades, wind generators, paddling pools, and water catchers. The attack helicopter pilots can now switch between HV and incendiary with the radial menu if you hold R, and you can manually reload with R when needed. They added new keybinds for swapping seats in vehicles, so you can select the specific seat that you want. By default, it's Control 1 for the driver's seat, Control 2 for the passenger seat, and etc. These can be changed with the keybind options in the escape menu. They have also a new wild hemp variant. Ooh, client update's out. Look at that. Let me tweet about it real quick and update the panel, but definitely go update your clients and restart Steam if you're not seeing the update hit, but the client update is live, and that's when we say the update is officially live. I think the dev blog will go live momentarily, and I'm just going to tweet about it real quick. All right, cool. And with that, yeah, the update is officially live, everybody. I do want to thank everyone, as always, for tuning in. Again, a lot of people sometimes think we're the developers of the game or we're on the Facepunch payroll, and neither of those are the case. We're just an independent organization who loves reporting on development news and running the best servers that we can. And so I just want to thank everyone for tuning in, thank everyone for the support, people who just watch, people who give bits or subscribe on Twitch, and to our wonderful, beautiful, loyal VIP customers. Thank you all so very much, because we wouldn't be able to do this year after year, week after week, month after month without the support of y'all. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Much love to you all. And I hope you all have a wonderful week and a wonderful wipe. I hope you all enjoy the quality of life update. Um, and yeah, with that, also, just a huge thank you to the whole team at Rustafied. A huge thank you to the whole team at Facepunch for another awesome update, for really focusing on the quality of life here and improving the gameplay for everyone playing the game. And specifically also, thank you, Artemis and Miss D, for being my co-MCs as always.
You're welcome as always.
Yep, always welcome.
And yeah, with that, we're going to wind this puppy down. I'm going to go make sure our servers are up and running smoothly. However, I do believe all Rustified servers are updated and wiped and ready for some fresh wiped gameplay action. And yeah, with that, much love to you all. I hope you have a wonderful week and a wonderful wipe. This is Bugs, signing off.
We have a raid.
And yeah, I was
Oh,
going to
we
say
have a
we
raid.
also
Look at
have a
that. We have
raid.
a raid. We actually remembered. Yep, we got a raid going on. I'm sending it right now.
Hang tight, guys.
Hang tight. We remembered. Look at us. All right. Peace out, everyone. Much love.